Just looking forward to going on the road. Obviously, LSU is a really talented team, and first league road game. So we're looking forward to prep today and prep at shoot around, and then getting ready to go compete.
I think your wife tweeted a picture of you, I guess, when you were at LSU and you had like a tie on and your daughter was in the back. I think she was wearing like a little LSU cheerleader outfit, it looked like. And what was that time like for you? I know you guys weren't there real long, but I know you talked about you were pretty close to going to the Timberwolves. That might have set you back on a path to stay in the NBA. Have you ever thought about, if you go to Timberwolves, you're probably not here.
Yep.
And just kind of what was that time like and getting you here, how key that was?
Yeah, I think obviously, the decision to go to LSU was kind of a family decision, I guess, because with my dad being the first coach of the Timberwolves and getting a call from Flip Saunders, who had played for my dad and I had idolized. I wanted to wear his number 14, when I played. And, Flip being the head coach, part owner, running the front office, it would have probably been something that a lot of familiarity and kind of easy with his assistant coaches at the time were Sidney Lowe and Sam Mitchell, two guys that had also played for my dad. But as a family, we made a decision that we wanted to stick with the college route, and I'm overly joyed that I did that. But it was a kind of a turning point on where my career and our family's life was going to go. Because I didn't know Coach Jones at all, had never been to Baton Rouge, and I learned so much there. He recruited, Johnny did, at such a high level, and to be part of, although I never coached him, to be part of the Ben Simmons recruiting process was really, really important for me to see and learn about in-home visits, and then his assistant coach, David Patrick, who I actually talked to on the way driving in this morning. David's such a high-level recruiter as well that 9 months at LSU was really important.
I'm trying to remember, you knew David Patrick from some other thing. He's at Riverside, right?
Yes.
You knew him, and just what was that time like in Baton Rouge? Do you still have friends there?
Yep.
That you might see at the game, and just how'd you find that whole experience to be?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. David Patrick and I were friends from the Bay Area. He was at St. Mary's, and I would go hang out at St. Mary's practices, and we'd go eat after dinners or after their practices, and so we developed a really strong bond. And Coach Jones was looking for somebody that had an NBA background, because David Patrick was Ben Simmons' godfather, and they felt like they had a great chance of landing him. But yeah, we do have friends still in the area. Danielle, my wife's going on the trip because she has friends that she's looking forward to going to lunch with tomorrow. Does that answer it?
You were pretty open about your concerns before the season about rebounding. How would you assess how that's gone so far this year?
Good, not great, but good, better than I expected. Effort's been tremendous. Cannot fault at all the effort of guys going to the backboards. But we're playing bigger, more athletic teams as this thing continues to progress through conference play. But I thought we did a good job against Texas A&M, and obviously Nebo's a really good rebounder at his position, and I thought that we did a really good job against Georgia Tech's front line, which is a really good front line rebounding, and then the same thing with Indiana. When you look at Indiana's 3-man, 4 and 5 spot, I mean, they're big across the board, and I thought we hung in there, and that's kind of what we've done is, we're not getting destroyed on the glass, and as long as we continue to put forth great effort and to box out and keep balls alive, those type of things, I think we'll be fine.
Coach, what are LSU's biggest strengths, and how can you utilize those?
You know, I think that they're really athletic. They have an experienced backcourt, obviously with Smart and Mays. That's where you would start. But they have a incredibly talented freshman that starts out at the small forward spot, and Waterford will end up moving to the 4 spot. And he's a guy that can get a defensive rebound and bring the ball up the floor, and he can score it, he can pass it, he can rebound. You know, and they're the team that's athletic at the 4 and 5 spot as well, and they're a little bit undersized, and then they have some guys coming off the bench that can score the ball as well. They're maybe a little bit healthier than they have been earlier in the year, and they're a really good team. And then we're playing on the road, so it makes it even more challenging.
After the Western Kentucky game, Mason said that he felt like he let a lot of people down with his play that night, but in the 4 games since, it looks like he's found a little bit of consistency. What do you kind of credit that to?
Yeah, I think that you know, he's been really focused in practice, and you know, I mean, I think you want a player to hurt a little bit after a loss and to self-reflect. Not just him, but as a coaching staff, you have to self-reflect and dive a little bit deeper in your post-game report and figure out, you know, what worked, what didn't work. You look at your practice schedule, you know. Did you go too long? Did you go too short? Did you cover everything? Certainly for a player, that's to me, that's growth, that's maturity. He didn't, you know, we didn't lose a game at Western Kentucky because of any one player or his collective effort amongst all of us. But I do like, as a head coach, I do love to have a player, you know, feel like he's searching for why we didn't win a particular game.
You're obviously familiar with, you know, the arena there and having coached it that season. And Arkansas has actually won their last couple games. There are a lot of these guys on the team won their last year, experienced that. You guys have been pretty good on the road. How does all this play into the game? How does your familiarity with the arena and the atmosphere help out, and then the road success?
Yeah, I mean, I you know, I don't think that there's any correlation. You know, just like when you play at home, you know, our next home game, whenever that is, I don't think what we did in the home game against A&M, there's any carryover. I don't think that, you know, our guys going into that building and winning in the past. Every game, to me, in my opinion, has its own identity. Its own storyline gets created as the game unfolds. And so I don't, you know, certainly I feel like, you know, it's not a negative that guys have won in that building. It's only a positive. But I think that teams change, coaching staffs change, philosophies change, rosters change, and therefore every game's got its own identity. Even, you know, whatever happens in Baton Rouge on, you know, on Wednesday is probably not going to have an effect next time we play them either. I just think that there's, you know, new themes, new storylines every game.
He was a starter last year. Just how has Jalen Harris handled being the 6th man and kind of evolving in the role he's played for you?
Jalen's been incredible. He's had a great attitude. He's a spark plug off the bench. He provides energy. He's, you know, the great thing is when you bring someone off the bench, you want him to have a characteristic that changes the look of your team. And he does that. Like, he speeds the game up when he comes in. He speeds the game up defensively, and he speeds the game up for us offensively. I think he's an improved shooter, especially from his own confidence standpoint. But he gives us something off the bench to change the complexion of the game.
Adrio looked in practice. I think he hurt his knee a little bit on Saturday. How's he looked in practice?
Yeah, I think he's fine. I mean, you know, obviously we're aware of him banging knees and you know, maybe want him not to take as many reps. But we feel like, you know, he should be ready to go tomorrow.
Being a West Coast guy, how big a culture shock was it to go from living, in California, I guess most of your life, to Louisiana, South Louisiana? It's kind of a world unto itself. How'd you find the whole culture thing to be? And
Yeah, to go from the West Coast to Louisiana, I gained weight right away because of the food, because it's as good as food as anywhere I've ever been in my life. So I had to watch the way I ate after the first couple months there. But the football weekends and it's just a whole different world from being involved in like the Pac-12. It's just it's just way different. There's the school spirit. I've said it before. You walk around a Pac-12 campus and you might see 9 different West Coast universities on people walking around campuses. At LSU, you're going to only see Tiger sweatshirts, and same thing here. Like you walk around our campus and there's 20,000 plus students they're wearing Hog stuff. And that just doesn't happen on the West Coast. The school spirit and the pride, especially in athletics that you see, in places like LSU and places like here.
the SEC is probably different than anything you've experienced, the intensity of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that for sure in football, but I think that basketball-wise in the Pac-12 is pretty intense, and but certainly from a school spirit standpoint, and certainly from a student section standpoint, this league is different in a positive way from other places that I've been a part of or seen.
Mason kind of describes himself as a goofy guy, and we've seen what you do getting on to him during games and stuff. It looks like you guys have a pretty good relationship. What's it been like getting to know him kind of as a person?
I love Mason. Yeah, we have a unique relationship for sure, in a great way. I mean, I would say that as far as communication-wise, he's an incredible communicator after games. He wants feedback. He and Jimmy are those two guys are like constantly asking, "What do you see? What can I do better? Give me a feedback on my game. Give me a grade on how I'm like." It's cool when you have players that are seeking out feedback, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. And the one thing with Mason is he's an amazing offensive player. We're putting him in positions that he's never been in, in his life. A lot of these guys their roles, like they might have had that role in high school or they might have had that role in AAU ball. Mason's, playing offensively in a completely different area than he's ever been in, and defensively. I mean, we're asking him to guard 4s and 5s. We're having him be a point guard on offense or a point forward, whatever you want to call it. He's creating mismatches for us offensively. And as far as the relationship goes, I mean, I love him. I love coaching him. No day is ever the same with Mason Jones. I will say that.
You mentioned Adrian, he's a Louisiana kid. How fired up do you think he is? I guess it'd be the last time he'd play in Louisiana. I haven't looked at NCAA sites, but at least this last time I played LSU. What do you think? What do you think that means to him?
I think it means a lot. I think that, for student athletes, I think anytime you go play, back home, so to speak, I think that you always get a little bit more fired up. There's always more family members and friends, and then there's the pride factor. I don't think that ever goes away. I think it's the same thing with a Major League Baseball player when he plays in his hometown or his home state, and same thing with an NFL player. Certainly I've seen it with NBA guys. There's a little bit more ticket requests and stuff like that, but bottom line is for anybody, you just got to put all that stuff aside when you're starting to get ready for a game from a mental standpoint. Thanks.